What if I told you that lasting longer in bed isn't about tricks or willpower? It's about understanding one simple truth about your body. And there's actual clinical research from 1970 by Masters and Johnson that proved a technique with nearly perfect success rates for men dealing with premature ejaculation. In this video, I'm breaking down exactly what that technique is, the science behind why it's so effective, and how you can apply it starting today to gain complete control over your ejaculation. Let me introduce myself. I'm Dr. Julia Rhodes, a men's sex therapist who's worked with couples for over a decade. In that time, I've guided hundreds of men through overcoming premature ejaculation and rebuilding their confidence in the bedroom. Now, let's dive into the content. So what's the real secret to lasting control? First, you need to understand what's actually happening in your body. Ejaculation isn't some random event. It's a nervous system response, a reflex. And for guys struggling with PE, that reflex has become overly sensitive. But why? Because your nervous system has learned to perceive sex as something threatening rather than safe. Think about it. Maybe you spent years masturbating quickly while anxious about getting caught. Maybe an early sexual encounter left you feeling humiliated, and you've carried that shame ever since. Or maybe the stakes feel incredibly high right now. You care deeply about your partner, and you're terrified that not performing will cost you the relationship. When your nervous system picks up on that kind of fear or pressure, it goes into survival mode. And the fastest way it knows to discharge that tension? Ejaculation. Your body isn't broken. It's actually doing exactly what it's been trained to do. The problem is that training happened unconsciously, often over years or even decades. And here's the good news. What was learned can be unlearned. Your nervous system is incredibly adaptable. It can be retrained to associate sexual arousal with safety instead of threat. That's the foundation of everything we're going to talk about today. This is exactly why surface-level solutions like Kegel exercises, desensitizing products, or medication don't create permanent transformation. They're not addressing the root cause, your dysregulated nervous system. Kegels might strengthen your pelvic floor, but they don't teach your body to feel safe during intimacy. Numbing creams might delay sensation, but they also disconnect you from pleasure and from your partner. SSRIs might alter your brain chemistry, but they come with side effects, and they stop working the moment you stop taking them. You can't muscle your way into control or numb yourself into lasting longer. What you actually need is to help your body feel safe and grounded during arousal. When your nervous system is regulated, when it's not in fight or flight mode, ejaculation control becomes natural rather than forced. That's when real, sustainable control becomes possible. So how do you regulate your nervous system? The foundation is learning to breathe in a way that communicates safety to your body. I'm talking about diaphragmatic breathing, what most people call belly breathing. This is one of the most accessible yet powerful tools available to you, and it's criminally underused. When you're stuck in a stress response, your breathing becomes rapid, shallow, and stuck in your upper chest. This signals to your brain that danger is present, which keeps you locked in anxiety and rushing toward release. Your sympathetic nervous system, the part responsible for fight or flight, stays activated. And when that system is running the show during sex, your body wants to finish as quickly as possible to escape the perceived threat. But when you shift to slow, deliberate breathing into your belly, you're essentially telling your entire system, "We're okay. It's safe to slow down." You're activating your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest response. This is the state where your body can experience pleasure without panic, arousal without urgency, and connection without rushing to completion. Here's the technique. Place one hand on your chest, the other on your stomach. Breathe in gently through your nose for a count of 4, allowing your belly to expand fully like a balloon filling with air. Hold for just a moment. Then release the breath slowly through your mouth for a count of 6 or even 8 with a soft sigh, letting your stomach fall completely. Notice how your hand on your chest barely moves while your hand on your belly rises and falls significantly. The more you practice this daily, not just during sex, the more you're training your body to default to calm instead of panic. Do it in the morning, do it before meals, do it in the car, do it while watching TV. You're literally building new neural pathways that make regulation your baseline state. Even just 5 intentional belly breaths can pull you out of fight or flight and into a regulated state. And that's the state where lasting control lives. Now here's where it gets practical. How do you actually use this when you're in bed with your partner and the pressure is on? This brings us back to Masters and Johnson. In 1970, they clinically validated a behavioral approach that achieved nearly 100% effectiveness in treating premature ejaculation. It's called the stop-start technique, and it works because it doesn't just cover up the problem, it actually rewires how your nervous system responds to sexual stimulation. Here's the protocol. Whether you're practicing solo or with a partner, you bring yourself close to climax, right up to the edge, somewhere around an 8 or 9 out of 10 on the arousal scale. Just before you reach the point of no return, you stop all movement and stimulation completely. Take several deep belly breaths, at least 3 to 5 full cycles. Focus on your breathing, on relaxing your pelvic floor, on softening any tension in your body. Let your arousal level drop back down to around a 5 or 6. Then resume stimulation and repeat the cycle. In the beginning, you might only be able to do this 2 or 3 times before ejaculating. That's completely normal. You're building a new skill. Over time, as your nervous system learns to tolerate higher levels of arousal without triggering the ejaculatory reflex, you'll be able to sustain this practice for longer and longer periods. Some men eventually reach the point where they can maintain high arousal for 15, 20, even 30 minutes or more without losing control. Every single time you pause at that edge and choose to stay present and calm instead of ejaculating, you're literally creating new neural pathways. You're teaching your brain and body that high arousal doesn't equal danger. You're proving to your nervous system that you can handle intense pleasure without losing control. This is neuroplasticity in action. The brain's ability to reorganize itself and form new connections. And it's how genuine, long-term transformation happens. The beauty of this method is that it's not about suppressing or fighting your body's natural response. It's about befriending it. You're not trying to white-knuckle your way through sex or distract yourself with mental math. You're actually present, actually feeling, actually connected to the sensations in your body. And paradoxically, that presence is what gives you control. Now here's something critical most people miss. When Masters and Johnson achieved those remarkable results, they weren't just handing men a pamphlet and sending them on their way. They were providing intensive, structured support over multiple weeks. They worked closely with individuals and couples, helping them implement the technique properly, manage their breathing through arousal, and communicate openly about the process. They created a safe, shame-free environment where men could practice and learn without judgment. That comprehensive approach is why their success rate was so high. It wasn't just the technique, it was the support, the accountability, the guidance through the inevitable challenges that come up during the retraining process. Because let's be real, changing deeply ingrained patterns isn't always smooth. There will be sessions where you feel like you're back to square one. There will be moments of frustration, and having someone in your corner who understands the process makes all the difference. I know this works, not just because of the research, but because I've witnessed it directly. As a therapist who's worked with couples for over a decade, I've seen hundreds of men completely turn their sexual confidence around using these exact principles. I've watched relationships transform when the weight of performance anxiety lifts. I've seen couples rediscover intimacy and playfulness in their sex lives that they thought was gone forever. And more importantly, I've seen what happens on the other side of this work. Men who used to avoid sex out of fear now initiate with confidence. Partners who felt disconnected and frustrated now feel desired and cherished. The bedroom goes from being a source of stress to being a space of genuine connection and pleasure. That's the real transformation we're after here. If you're ready to apply these methods with proper guidance, and you're serious about overcoming premature ejaculation permanently, click the link in the description or head to elevatedlover.com to schedule a consultation. Or check out the next video where I break down how men over 30 can reverse PE and experience the most fulfilling sex of their lives. I'm Dr. Julia Rhodes, and I'll see you in the next one.